day yesterday, so he's looking to improve a lot today. Craig Sheriff's number 56, Building Man, out on the GSXR 1000 Suzuki. Number P, Phil Lovett, on the Kawasaki ZX10, sponsored by Lovett's Earth Moving. And it looks like we're getting ready for a start.
Yep, boys are revving up, boys and girls, of course. We've got Sophie Scotty Moyer, the local man, and he heads into that first corner first. He gets past the pole position, and when I say he goes in hello, we've got a bit of argy-bargy there. Someone's off the track, but they're upright, and there was two or three sessions of banging. In fact, that was Jaden Nassan on bike 41. Ended up into onto the grass, but he didn't come down, so that's the important thing. And he's right in behind, I think, Richard Taylor suffering for a puncture off some debris on the track yesterday, so lucky the man reeled it in. Hey, there we go, Kawasaki, Nick Cole from third into second. This man's on fire. Remember, we're exactly halfway through the New Zealand Championships here at Taupo. We've had 3 races at Ruapuna, 3 at Timaru, and 1 yesterday, and there's another 2 today, of course, including this one, and 5 next weekend, so we're exactly halfway through, and Nick Cole's a man on a mission. Unfortunately, he had a sensor failure yesterday, the front wheel sensor failure, I believe, or one of the sensors failed, and his traction control behaved badly and spat him off into the kiddie litter. Unfortunately, the man didn't hurt himself too badly. He does say he's got a sore tailbone and that, so Nick Cole on the Red Devil Racing Kawasaki is flying there in second place, but the man on the mission at the moment, and probably 150, maybe 180 metres lead, is Scotty Moyer. Scott, he got a second yesterday. He's on fire, Ian.
Scotty is riding extremely well. Of course, this is his local track, so he's got a bit of hometown advantage. But, oh, and who's that running off?
Sloane Frost went straight through at the chicane, do a bit of motocrossing there. Well, oh, and then was that Sloane Frost or Ryan Hampton, maybe? Wasn't Sloane Frost? That's Hayden. Ryan Hampton, I'm sorry about that, yes. So, it is Scotty Moyer. Nick Cole.
Nasty barge into turn 1. That looked like Dennis Charlotte getting his braking all wrong, nearly clipping the back of Lyndon McGee there on the BMW. So Lyndon doing well to avoid all that.
Oh,
and down he goes.
Down he goes. He skids along there. The bike comes back across the track, and that's tough. The bike, Lyndon McGee, the important thing is the man's up and he's running back towards his bike. So that's the BMW S1000R. He was a man on a mission yesterday, got on the podium yesterday, but he's just slid out there. We've got to go back out to the front. It is still Scotty Moyer. Nick Cole's reeling him in as well. Scotty Moyer, the fastest man on the track at the moment. Nick Cole's reeling him in. And Sloane Frost on the Fujitsu-sponsored GSXR 1000. Had it all his own way yesterday and won the race, but he's sitting there in a solid third place. Bit of a gap back there to fourth. Dennis Charlotte, yeah, Tony Rees on the Honda, followed by Ryan Hampton, Phil Lovett, Hayden Fitzgerald had a crash here yesterday, unfortunately, and he's sitting in 9th. Craig Sheriff's man. Craig Sheriff's is a man that's won a couple of Superbike Championship races, but something's happened this season. He got married a few weeks ago. Maybe they've de-sexed him at the same time. Unfortunately, he hasn't got his mojo at the moment, which is a bit of a shame, but that's 56. Craig Sheriff's is still another race in the day, and of course, Manfield's his specialist track. He's had a Superbike win there. So, meanwhile, all eyes on the front for the first lap of the race, second lap of the race, and the 15-lap race. It is still Scotty Moyer, but Nick Cole is picked in at 1:27.923, so 40 thousandths per second quicker, which is next to nothing on the track, but it shows you Nick Cole has come back from his big crash yesterday and in a good solid second race and really wins. Sloane Frost will be trying his hardest there. We've got 27, 27, 28. Dennis Charlotte's in the 30s, so Charlotte, I think, is his bike's all good as gold this weekend, but he has had some trouble just getting used to the track. He's only been here 3 times, but no pressure on Dennis Charlotte at the moment because he has a substantial points lead. He'll be out there. He's got a level head. He's been around motorcycle racing for 20-odd years. The 45-year-old grandfather as well as father. Obviously, you can't be a grandfather without a father unless you're in Nine-Eye. But I believe they can do that with test tubes or something like that. But that's the 45-year-old man out there. I don't know which way they insert the test tubes either. But he's been hunted down by number 11, Tony Rees. Over to you, Ian. I'm going to go and put some money in the swear jar.
Yeah, so Scotty Moyer, number 87, he's out maybe 3 or 4 bike lengths, and he's having a really good run. Nick Cole chasing him down, though. Nick's definitely not going to give up. And Sloane Frost, he's sitting in a comfortable 3rd place. So unlike Sloane to be sitting back so far from the leaders, so maybe he's just got a slight issue, bit of lack of confidence perhaps. And Dennis Charlotte, yeah, Dennis has been having a bit of a tough weekend, but like Spider said, he's well clear on the points, so he's just going to be able to collect all the points that he can today. He's been having a few problems with rear-end grip, so he's pretty happy with the stage of the game.
right now at the moment, Dennis Charlotte's 31 points ahead of the second place getter Nick Cole, but on the track there, I think there's only 2 or 3 points in it. So this race won't affect them. Two places behind, I should say. We've got Sloan Frost somewhere in the middle. Good ride there for the Honda man of number 11, Tony Rees. He's just in front of Ryan Hampton. Ryan Hampton went straight through at the chicane there off the end of the front straight, stayed up there, and good solid ride there. Unfortunately, we had a pit lane starter there, and that was number 77, James Smith. So James Smith right at the tail of the field, but he's still out there. And more unfortunately too is the sidelining of the M1 Motorsport Linda McGee machine. So Scotty Moyer out there.
And Scotty's just picked up the new lap record, so that's a fantastic ride from Scott. He's riding absolutely fantastic today, and he's doing everything he can to keep Nick Cole at bay. He wants to keep that gap at around 0.2, 0.3. If he can do that, he'll be happy. He'll be watching his football closely, looking for signs that Nick's closing on him. But
definitely, there's the man that won a race at Timaru, and he said yesterday Sloan Frost, the leader all the way race, was holding him up at a couple of places, but he said it's all about riding for points. He knew what he threw away when he won a race down at Timaru. Then he had the same issue there with someone holding him up, and he made a mistake, and that was 0 to 0 in a minute there. So he rode with a level head for a good solid second race. Look at that, that's a flying. Hayden Fitzgerald goes up on the inside of the 2 Hondas there. Hayden Fitzgerald is on a mission. He'd come out off in this place last yesterday. He hit the yellow line and come off. So this is confidence there. So the Suzuki New Zealand RGM Rosgrave Motorsport sponsor machine goes past 2 Hondas there. Another Honda as well. In fact, that was 1 Honda, I should say. There's Tony Reesy's got a reel in now, and he went past Craig Sheriffs and Ryan Hampton. So a man on a mission will have to check out the lap times. But right now, lap record holder. New lap record holder, 1:27.975 at the moment. Scotty Moyer, he's actually 0.4 of a second quicker than Nick Cole, so he'll be looking at his pit boards there. Nick Cole riding for points. He's more higher up the food chain in points with only 1 crash this season so far. I shouldn't be putting the commentators' jinx on him, but definitely that's where Nick Cole's sitting at the moment. Of course, Nick's hungry for a win. He deserves a Superbike win. He's had a couple of Superbike wins and was leading a race at Hampton Downs last year, and unfortunately had a little bit of white line paint issue and threw him off there, but he won the race, the other race in the day, so Nick Cole on fire and carrying a little bit of injury from yesterday. There goes James Smith through there on bike 77, a pit lane starter. So Ian, you've got your money on Scotty Moyer, mate. He's disappearing off of the distance. There's probably 140 metres in there. There's nearly 200 metres down to 3rd place, 130 metres down to 4th place, Dennis Charlotte. There's a big pack coming through there, and that's led by Tony Rees. Here comes Hayden Fitzgerald up on the inside of, I think, Ryan Hampton there. They were dicing before. This is the same place he diced before. Craig Sheriff seems to be having a better showing than he was before, but still sitting in 8th place. He was on the right. Too, and the bright orange leathers there. Jaden Massan's moved up. Jaden got run off in the first corner, so Jaden Massan, I say that in the bright orange leathers, I think full Lovett, yes, definitely full Lovett has changed his uniform this weekend, and followed by Dylan Telford and the lovely Sophie Lovett, who was last weekend racing in Australia on the Kawasaki 300 Ninja Cup, and back over here. She is Australian, but lives in Auckland, so she's out there on the ZX10 Kawasaki. Over to you, Ian.
Yeah, I'm just looking at James Smith's times. He's nearly 4 seconds a lap faster than the guys he's following, but with that pit lane start, he's just going to have to keep working and working and working, just riding for the points and looking for some better setup for the next race. But back to Scott Moyer in first place. He's holding a gap of about 1.2 seconds, so he'll just be managing that gap. Then back to Nick Cole. Nick's got a gap of nearly 2 seconds over Sloan Frost. So I don't think Sloane's going to catch Nick in this one. I think the man would be watching Dennis Charlotte trying to hunt down Sloan Frost for 3rd place.
Yeah, definitely, but there's still quite a gap there. We were joined earlier on by Dennis Charlotte's daughter in the commentating tower, Diane Hugenboozem, one of the Christchurch ladies. Brought up his daughter, but they've disappeared now, so I don't know where they're gone, but never mind, it was a pleasure to see them up there, and the dice is all on there. I'm still looking at that number 9 bike of he's gone through on the pack there, but there is a right a tight pack there. There's probably 3 bike lengths between him, back to Ryan Hampton, and then we've got Craig Sheriff, so action aplenty there. The top 4 bikes, which is Scotty Moyer, followed by Nick Cole on the Red Devil Racing, followed by the Suzuki GSXR 1000 of Frost and Dennis Charlotte are spaced out, but the dice is all on there, and Craig Sheriff is making a move up on the inside maybe of Ryan Hampton, but doesn't quite get there, but he's trying. This is last year, when it was almost a do-or-die effort, made an uncharacteristic mistake. He's pretty good trade sheriffs over the years, had 23 wins at the cemetery circuit, second only to Robert Holden, but mojo not quite there, but he's still putting up a good fight at the moment, and the dice was on last year for the New Zealand Championships between him and Australian Robbie Bugden, and he threw it away there, unfortunately. Still creditable finish anyway on the sponsor machine.
Tony Rees having a wee look up the inside into the back end there. Maybe he'll get a good run onto the straight. So looking back, Scott Moore still leading, and he's got a very big gap now. He's got 1, 2, 3, nearly 4 seconds on Nick Cole, who's got probably 5 or 6 seconds on Sloane Frost, and back to maybe 2 seconds to Dennis Charlotte. So places are all looking fairly steady first through to fourth, but 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9, 10, those guys are all going hard at it.
In fact, I'm just looking at the lap times there, Ian, and we've gone from 1.9 placed on the track, and that's the Moto TT sponsored bike of Scotty Moyer and the Red Devil Racing Machine of Nick Cole, and that went to 2.9 in 1 lap, 1 second. I think that, in fact, a 1:28, 1:29 still. Sloane Frost is marginally quicker. Of a second, so 7 laps. We're just under halfway of this New Zealand Superbike race, and was that Craig Sheriff's going on the inside?
No, I think that might have been Aaron Hassan muscling his way through there.
Oh, of course, Aaron Hassan got into the 13s down at Timaru, shows he's got the mojo to do this sort of thing. Got run off early in the first corner on the track there, so he's weaving his way up there. I think he finished as high as 4th yesterday. I'm just going to check my points there, but I'm pretty sure he got about 4th yesterday. Can't quite remember.
Yeah, and it looks like he's having a go at Hayden Fitzgerald as well.
Yep, he's definitely a man on a mission of weaving through there. He might even be in somewhere along the line, possibly for a podium up here, but probably not two at the moment. Right on the podium at the moment is Scotty Moyer, Nick Cole and Sloane Frost. Suzuki, Kawasaki, couple of Suzukis, a Honda. Suzuki, Honda, Suzuki, couple of Kawasaki's in an Aprilia, BMW, Honda, and sidelined, unfortunately, Linda McGee on the M1 Motorsport sponsored BMW S1000. Had a bit of a crash, but the main thing, he was up and all right, and he skidded across on his hands and knees across the track. The bike went off into the grass, across the track. Luckily, everyone saw it. Pretty clear vision here, but back onto the track in this dice here, and it is the tail of Hayden Fitzgerald, but he's reeling him in there pretty well. There's 5 bikes in a tight pack here. The front 4 metres have disappeared off into the distance. There's 5 bikes. The fluorescent machine of number 41 is the easiest one to pick up, and that, and he's right on the tail of number 9, which is Hayden Fitzgerald on the Ross Brown Motorsports. Tony Rees is making a bit of a break on this field, and Craig Sheriff seems to have backed off a little bit. As I say that, he closes up, and he closes up quite well there on Ryan Hampton from Christchurch.
And here goes Jaden. He's having a look up the inside. He's made a nice clean pass there. Now he's going to try and tack onto the back of Tony Rees and see if he can get a bit of a tow along, keep his pace going, and maybe nip in front of him as well.
Great showing too for the man that was king of the castle in a lot of races on 600s over the last year on the Yamaha R6, and Suzuki New Zealand decided to pick him up and provide him with a machine, and certainly a good showing, and he seems to be running a bit cleaner this year. You know, sometimes he was a bit of a do-or-die man on the 600, and seems to have not necessarily backed off the place, but in my eyes he's got a lot more consistent and matured quite a bit as a rider, and it is a pleasure to see. Shame that he was actually run off in that first track.
He's just made a pass, absolutely clean pass under the brakes on Tony Rees, and a nice line there. So he's going to put his head down now and see if he can break this group.
Scotty Moyer is starting to lap James Smith. Starts, no other lap is James Smith should be able to run with the pace of the rest of the boys. We've got 14 bikes here for the, the 7th race, 8th race of the New Zealand Superbike Championships, and there James Smith had a bit of a problem driving out of that corner, so I'd say the guy's going to have to pull off there. In fact, he's got his hand up and he's looking down the bike as Nick Cole on the Red Devil Racing Machine goes through there, and the Red Devil Racing Machine, Nick Cole's got a lot of sponsors that are here watching this weekend. There's Kawasaki New Zealand, Cycle Talk, which is the family company, Locomotion, the Electric Spider Limited, Metzler Tyres, Just Fairings, which were needed yesterday after his crash, a spare set of Just Fairings, Bike Trends is always good to the team, and personal sponsors, Auckland Steel Blasters, Motul, F1 Engineering, run by the pretty well famous Bears racer Steve Bridge, and I see Steve and Debbie Bridge pulled up into a pitch yesterday. They're here to watch this weekend. Doug Corns Photography, Doug not here, he's in Australia at the Barry Shue Memorial. NZ Moto, and a personal sponsor, Lawrence Day, and also Ron Rees Engineering. I don't think I mentioned him, but Ron Rees Engineering, Ron was around last night, so good showing too, especially after a big crash there. So what have we got? We're right down on the 128, so lap record is a new lap record holder, and that is Scotty Moyer, a man equally happy on the motocross track as he is on the road race track nowadays, and mate, he's a class act for his own at the moment, but not for the ones that try. 28-3, 29-4, 29-1 by Sloane Frost, so Sloane Frost on the track a little bit quicker. No, that's right. Unfortunately, James is still circulating there, so he must have got back up there, but he's sort of getting out of the way of those guys that are coming sure and lapping. Got every ability, but unfortunately had a crash here on Friday, and he can't really put his leg on the foot peg properly. He seems to be having trouble changing gear, so...
Jaden Hassan had a big moment there out of turn 3 into turn 4. He's got it back under control. Now he's just got to take a couple of deep breaths, get his confidence back up, get his concentration going again, and push on, because Tony Rees is making every advantage of his mistake, and he's closed right up on him.
Tony Rees, the Wakatani Honda rider, the man that won the last ever Castrol 6 Hour, along with the rider Dave Hicks in New Zealand. He's been around for 25 years racing, road racing at least. Disappeared off into the distance, but then came back, and some years ago riding Yamahas, he won both the Superbike class at the time and the 600 class at the National Championship level. Was doing double duties there on a Yamaha R1 and a Yamaha R6. No Yamahas out there afield at the moment, have we, Ian? That's unfortunate, but that was Tony Rees, so a man with many, many years and many, many miles of ability, and great on the dirt bike as well. So he's in. Jaden Hassan opens the legs up and goes through there.
He's got a gap of almost the length of the front straight, so now we all know that Nick's a class act, and he won't be letting Scott get away easily, so Scott must be having a really good setup and really good confidence in himself and his bike today.
He's done many, many laps around here on all sorts of machines, and run a superbike about 2 to 3 seasons ago. He won a run for the Wolfpack racing team on a Honda CBR 1000 and had some spectacular showings, and last year he came out for the last 2 rounds at Hampton Downs. I didn't even recognise the bike or the leathers, and for who's that, but once I picked up on the riding style, it was definitely, I knew it was Scotty Moyer, and had a good strong showing here last year, but crashed at the hairpin in one of the races there. Confused the commentators because they put a different fairing panel on it in the next race. Didn't know who the hell it was until the transponders confirmed it. But first New Zealand Superbike Championship win at Timaru a few weeks ago, and I'll tell you what, this man is on the oldest bike in the field as well. He's got a 2008 machine where most of the others are way newer than that, so hats off to him, but we won't put the commentator's curse on it. 15 lap races, we're just 11 laps down, so we're just over 2/3 the way through, Ian.
Yes, we are, and looking through the field, we've got Scott Moyer in first place, Nick Cole second, quite a large gap back to Sloane Frost and Dennis Charlotte. Then we've got that group of Jaden Hassan, Tony Rees, Hayden Fitzgerald, Craig Sheriffs and Ryan Hampton, followed by Phil Lovett and Sophie Lovett behind on the Kawasaki ZX-10s, both from Australia. Then Dylan Telford and their Aprilia. It's good to see some of the different makes out there. The BMW and their Aprilia coming along well, making a big showing in Superbikes. Then we've got Richard Taylor on the S1000 BMW, sponsored by Motomart. James Smith struggling out there on the Suzuki, as Spider alluded to, with the left foot not being able to reach the gear lever properly, so really struggling to change gear and change direction of the bike through the fast turns.
All right, looking at that dice at the moment, Craig Sheriffs has got his mojo back. He's managed to pass those 2 riders he sat for the whole race in behind, so he's gone through on both Ryan Hampton and Hayden Fitzgerald. So Craig Sheriffs, man, and what's the lap times, Craig? 1:30, so that's a pretty good lap time for being down there in 6th in the field. Remember last race in the Pro Trims, we saw the man in 6th place for the fastest lap, but Craig Sheriff is regaining some confidence. He had tyre issues down the South Island. I think somewhere along the line I mentioned he finished last. He didn't quite finish last, second to last, but that's a very uncharacteristic position for him. But Craig Sheriff has gone through, and on a similar machine to the Suzuki GSX-R 1000 Hayden, and Hayden was the man that was weaving through there. And so Jaden Hassan in 5th place, followed by Tony Rees. Craig Sheriff has gone up there over and above those two riders. So action aplenty for the Superbikes here at the New Zealand Superbike Championships at Taupo Motorsport. Hope you're all enjoying yourself watching this on CTAS live timing. You can download it later, and I'll tell you what, the action's coming on. The underground brown Suzuki GSXR 1000 with Dennis Charlotte, and now in fourth place has Sloane Frost in his sights. And if we go across to it, it's a 128.4 and a 128.8 for Sloane Frost. His pit was so in fact he had Sloane who had a bit of a tyre slide there coming out of turn 1, so just a bit of a thing. Yesterday he won the race here at Taupo, and he could hear Scotty Moyer on his tail all the time. It won't be long before he can hear that Suzuki GSXR 1000 of Dennis Charlotte. Well, let's have a look at some of the sponsors. Avon Suzuki, Underground Brown, who I mentioned, the family of Underground Brown are up here watching the Superbikes, enjoying their trip up there. Pirelli Tyres, Chris Gordon, KSS, Kiwi Suspension Solutions, Olin Suspension, Vinyl Ashburn, E&I Oils, and Silverhorn Sportsville. That's the pills that Colin Meads advertised. So yeah, joint supplements. Yeah, I know what those are all about. Yeah, I'm getting old and I need some of them as well. So Dennis Charlotte is reeling in third place on the track here. We thought it was all done and dusted with Scotty Moyer off into the distance. Nick Cole's in a good solid second place. Probably there's 10 seconds there. Scotty Moyer, hopefully he's got the concentration level. Lap 14 at the moment. He's coming across and here we go. The white flag comes out. Scotty Moyer comes onto the front straight on the Moto TT GSXR 1000. Mate, this is spectacular. His old man will be fizzing at the bung just watching this and just enjoying it. He loves it. He loved him to get the second place yesterday. He says, no, didn't need to win. Solid no, that is Sloane Frost gone through, but Dennis Charlotte is definitely reeling him, but no, just 2 50 thousandths of a second between them. So it is one lap to go, and I don't think Dennis Charlotte's going to be stupid here. We did see a tyre slide from Sloane Frost, so maybe Sloane has slowed a bit, but there was 50 thousandths between the last lap time, so nothing in it there at all.
Yeah, I think Sloane kept a good eye on his pitboard. You could see that Dennis was closing on him. He's comfortable in third place. He knows he's not going to catch second, so maybe he's just been conserving himself, you know, saving a bit of energy. He's seen Dennis coming at him though, and he's lifted his pace to try and match that, and he's done that successfully. So I think he's going to hold Dennis off and finish in a nice tidy third.
Hats off, the ride of the race to me. Well, of course, the ride of the race is definitely by Scotty Moyer, but
Hayden Fitzgerald just threw on Craig Sheriff's.
Yeah, did that just happen there? Because he also went through the start-finish line in front, so they must have been dicing as well. That's good race by the two Suzuki New Zealand-sponsored riders. Back to Jaden Hassan, got run off the track in the first corner, so he's gone from 15th up to 5th place, 15th to 5th. That's an awesome thing in New Zealand Superbike level. So here we go. Is that Dennis Charlotte? Here we're going to go. Scotty Moyer's coming through for the win here. Scotty Moyer, what a spectacular show. Good on you, big wheelie, but the dice is on. There goes Nick Cole coming through, but the dice is on. Dennis Charlotte lines up Sloane Frost. Dennis is coming through, going to get the drive, but no, it is Sloane Frost. But I tell you what, that's by a gnat's prick, which is maggot. Yeah, la.
So another dollar for the swear jar there, Spider.
No, maggot's not a swear word.
But just watching the finish there, that was an amazing ride from Dennis. He was pushing absolutely everything he could through the S's. He got right on the back of Sloane Frost on the exit of the final turn there. And he got a bit of a wheel stand and just had to give his back brake a bit of a dab to try and get it under control, which gave Sloane the run to the checkered flag.